Hello everyone, this is ACHAIA Akaya, and we are in the ace matchup between Texmix and KillerPlague right now. If you have not been keeping up with the series, Texmix is playing for SC2 Armory, and KillerPlague is playing for VGvSC2A. So the two gaming community sites are matching up against each other. Basically, if you're not familiar with the setup that's going on with this particular matchup, is both gaming sites have selected 5 of their best players to face off against each other, and it's basically a single elimination tournament, so to speak. So each team faces off, one person faced off against somebody from the other team, and basically everybody keeps facing off against each other until one team has no players left. In the first round, SC2 Armory was able to knock out 4 of the 5 players from VGvSC2A. So far, KillerPlague has managed to take down VGvSC2A in round 2, and he is facing off against Texmix right now in round 1. They are 1-1, so if he wants to keep his community alive in this exhibition matchup between the two gaming communities, he is going to need to win this game to take out Texmix in a best-of-3 set, which would win him the set as 2-1. But anyways, let's move into the game here. It looks like setting up that initial pylon out at the ramp, and the same here, Texmix setting his pylon up inside his base, not quite as far out from his nexus as it looks like KillerPlague was going for, but both players getting a scout out relatively early. And there is a gateway already going down for both players. I'm sorry, there's actually a forge going down for Texmix. We saw him do that last matchup on broken steps, and he actually managed, KillerPlague managed to hold it off. So maybe Texmix's thinking is that he's not going to expect him to do that in this game, putting down a pylon already in his base, and he is sending a second probe out here. So it looks like Texmix is once again going to try a little bit of a cheese strategy here, and KillerPlague is now inside the base of Texmix, so he is aware that he has a forge. So I'm sure he is going to start looking around for these hidden pylons here to find out what's going on, and actually setting up a pylon way up at the top here. I'm not sure why that one's so far out. It looks like he has a second probe hidden over here, but is not doing anything with it just yet. A second gateway now going down for KillerPlague, and Texmix actually letting this one probe take a lot of damage for some reason. And there are 2 photon cannons going up. KillerPlague sees the photon cannon and immediately sends over a bunch of probes to try to hold this off, although this one photon cannon is very close to being finished, setting up another photon cannon up at the higher pylon here. That photon cannon is going to barely get taken out, so it looks like he cancels it just before it comes in, and it looks like this cannon rush is actually going to completely fail, unfortunately for Texmix. So he has 200 minerals invested in these pylons. That last photon cannon he tries to frantically put up, but that is going to be taken down very easily. So basically these 2 pylons and the 2 probes he lost are just wasted resources at this point. It looks like Texmix is trying once again to switch into a more standard play game, but the cannon rush was defeated much earlier this time, so keep in mind that he has not had as much time to prepare. As you can see, there are already 2 zealots and 1 probe moving out across the map, and there is still 1 probe inside the base of Texmix. Last game, when Texmix's rush failed, he actually had bought himself a few minutes anyway, so when he switched into a more standard style game, he was able to get cannons up on his ramp, which he is actually trying to do right now, although I don't know if this is going to be quick enough. He was able to get cannons up on his ramp, and he was also able to switch into and build a couple gateways. Actually, it looks like he is going to turn around and go straight for the rocks on the back ramp, which you can see these destructible rocks do have a decent amount of HP, but it looks like he is just going to try to chip away at those with his 2 zealots here. There is a cyber core coming in addition to the forge and gateway, and it looks like there are only 2 cannons at the entrance here for Texmix, which is what he used last time. So we'll see if he's able to hold off any early offenses with that. Taking about 500 hit points off of the destructible rocks already. We can see there's another zealot moving across, and it looks like he actually has one of his probes attacking the destructible rocks on his side of the map. And once again, the 2 pylons are still there for Texmix, so I'm not sure why KillerPlague has not taken those out with any of the units that are inside his base, because basically that is free supply. If he takes those pylons out, he can kill 16 supply worth of pylons from that base, and it looks like Texmix is actually going to see the zealots taking down these destructible rocks, and I'm sure at this point he realizes that he is in bad shape. He's going to need to very quickly get some defense up. We see him throwing down 2 cannons immediately by his base, and it looks like he is going to try to get some zealots out as well to help in defending this He is also researching warp gate technology, but that is not going to be anywhere near done by the time these zealots get up into his base, and it looks like Texmix could be in a lot of trouble here. Actually, only one cannon for some reason. He canceled one of them, I guess, trying to put up another gateway or something, but I don't think he's going to be able to hold this off, because all he has are probes and 2 zealots to face off against 5 zealots here inside his base, losing a lot of probes already, and 1 zealot near going down, although they managed to take out his other zealot that was trying to take that zealot down before he was able to do anything. And it looks like Texmix losing all of his zealots right now. 1 more coming in right now, but there are a lot of probes not doing anything, and he has also lost a lot of probes. 3 zealots remaining, although at this point the income advantage for Texmix, or I'm sorry, for KillerPlague is just enormous. You can see that he's got about a 500-600 mineral lead on Texmix at this point, and Texmix frantically trying to defend this. He's got another cannon up, and now he has 4 gateways, but he cannot produce practically anything out of them because he does not have enough money to keep producing from those. And it looks like those zealots being put on hold position inside the mineral line, trying to get a few more shots off. And it looks like Texmix is going to hold off this offensive, but he is in very, very bad shape right now. You can see he has absolutely no gas income right now, and despite the fact that he did manage to hold that off, he is still about 200 to 300 minerals behind in the income tab. So we'll see if he can manage to pull this round and do anything, but there's also a pretty heavy tech advantage for KillerPlague at this point. He's managed to get out a robotics facility already, and does also have a robotics bay, so that he will be able to get Colossi here very shortly, which I just don't think that Texmix is going to be able to recover enough in time to be able to defend against any kind of a robotics push. Oh, and it looks like Texmix taking advantage of those pylons that were left undestroyed in the base of KillerPlague, and he's going to mount a bit of an offensive himself, managing to take out 1 probe already, although there are 4 zealots and 1 stalker here to defend. He is trying to warp in more units, but I don't think he's going to be able to get enough in time in order to actually do any significant damage here. So his offensive units do get taken down, and it looks like these pylons are going to go down pretty quickly here as well. KillerPlague now realizing that since the game is going to move into somewhat of a mid-game here, he is not going to be able to allow those pylons. He says, duh. So apparently he is aware of his mistake, and he is going to take those down rather quickly. A decent amount of units being built up for Texmix at his base now, although I got to think that there is a huge advantage still for KillerPlague. As you can see, he does have a pretty significant advantage. 10 more harvesters, and he's actually got 5 more zealots, 2 more stalkers, although KillerPlague does have less sentries than Texmix, but I don't think that that is going to be enough to swing the tide of the battle into the favor of Texmix. We'll have to see exactly what happens a little bit later on. We can see that there is 1 Colossi just about to finish in the production here from this robotics facility, and he does not yet have the extended range for the Colossi, but he is going for an expansion up here. So KillerPlague actually expanding before Texmix in this game, because he feels comfortable with the amount of damage that he did in that first counteroffensive after handling that cannon rush. So 1 lone stalker from Texmix moving out here, and for some reason deciding to take on this entire army by itself, goes down very quickly. And basically the only units that he has to defend against this right now are a couple of cannons, which are not placed well enough to handle this. He's got a couple of immortals trying to warp in right now, but there are not enough sentries and zealots to actually handle this. And that 1 immortal coming out at the wrong time, it was right in the front lines, and it's going to take a lot of damage very quickly. And the Colossi, you can see there with the last patch in the beta, they made it so that massive units now basically remove force fields from the map. So once those force fields were put up, he just basically walked the Colossi over top of those force fields, and this game is pretty much over. All the probes for Texmix going down immediately to the combined fire of those Stalker Zealots and the 1 Colossi standing over top, and Texmix is going to GG. So this match actually is going to go to KillerPlague. KillerPlague proving to be a very, very good player here. He has managed to take out VGvSC and Texmix, which, as I mentioned, Texmix won the SC2 Armory Wrath of the Xel'Naga tournament, so he is a pretty good player. But KillerPlague is going to move on to the next matchup. If he can manage to all kill the SC2 Armory team, that would be a very impressive feat indeed. So we'll move on to the next matchup here and see if he's able to do that.